Greetings, I am Trifon Sivenes, and on behalf of George Koutroumanos, Ioannis Vrelis, and Tassas Mikropoulos, I'll be presenting you our research regarding teachers' experience when using interactive applications with augmented reality glasses. According to previous studies in the research literature, augmented reality is an emerging technology that has caught teachers' interest for over a decade. This is due to the fact that previous studies have identified a number of affordances, as you can see in the slideshow below. For instance, the observation of invisible phenomena, information accessibility, as well as improved development of special abilities. The use of augmented reality in recent years expanded quickly. This is due to technological advancements in our mobile devices that allowed us to build and create a variety of mobile applications that specifically use augmented reality technology. This approach allowed us to explore several use cases of augmented reality in a number of fields, including, of course, education. However, even though we can safely say that augmented reality technology has matured enough in recent years, there are certain limitations. As you can see in the picture on your left, viewing augmented reality content from a smart device, be it a smartphone or a tablet, has certain potentials and limitations. One limitation has to do with limited interactivity and immersion in the augmented reality content. On the other hand, we now have newer technologies that were specifically designed for a better augmented reality experience, as you can see in the picture on your right. Using augmented reality glasses, one will find an additional amount of abilities, including increased presence as well as first-person view. We investigated the concept of interactivity as well as immersion and its potential in education. It seems that interactivity is an important feature of augmented reality technology and is considered essential in student engagement in constructing knowledge through learning by doing. Immersion, on the other hand, is the extent to which the user's senses are exposed to the virtual content, and is considered important in creating a more realistic and situated learning experience with augmented reality. However, a review of the literature revealed that the majority of research focuses heavily on mobile-based applications. In layman's terms, this means that few studies focus on the use of augmented reality glasses in education. It is important to emphasize how the teacher is an important catalyst in the adoption of any technology in the classroom. In other words, if a teacher has negative perceptions and attitudes towards a technology, he or she will not adopt it in their classrooms. So after identifying the research gap, the purpose of this study was to investigate teachers' experience regarding the use of immersive interactive applications with augmented reality glasses. We specifically examined, as you can see, 4 factors, namely spatial presence, simulator sickness, usability, as well as workload. The rationale for selecting these factors was due to the fact that previous studies identified how user experience is based on these exact 4 factors that you can see in the slideshow below. The first one has to do with presence, which is the feeling of being there, so the feeling of being inside the AR content. The second one, as you can see, is simulator sickness. This is a form of motion sickness that may occur when using a virtual and augmented reality environment. The third one is usability, that measures how effective and efficient a system is. Lastly, we examine workload, which measures the cost for the human when accomplishing a task. A detailed review of the research literature revealed that no previous study has examined the use of augmented reality glasses in teacher sample on these 4 factors that we analyzed in the previous slide. However, we identified 3 studies with certain limitations. The first one measured simulator sickness in aviation, medical, and space industry. The second one measured presence, simulator sickness, and usability in heating, ventilation, and air conditioning industry. The third one had an educational perspective that measured presence, simulator sickness, and satisfaction among university students with promising results. However, we were unable to find a study that focused on teacher sample. As far as our research goes, our sample consisted of 46 in-service primary and secondary education teachers. The majority of them were female, and below you can see their experience in teaching, as well as computer and augmented reality familiarity. As far as our data collection goes, we used an online questionnaire that was split in 5 sections. In the first section, we collected anonymized demographic information, and then we used the adapted questionnaires of the 4 scales we discussed earlier, namely presence, simulator sickness, usability, as well as workload. Prior to collecting data, we had an activity, where the teachers had to interact with Magic Leap 1 augmented reality classes. Initially, the teachers came one by one, became familiar with Magic Leap's controls and abilities, and then had to interact with 3 interactive educational augmented reality applications. Data collection took place in our lab at the Department of Education of the National Kapodistrian University of Athens in Greece. The average time for the teacher participant to complete the activity and file the questionnaire was about 1 hour and 20 minutes. In the following slides, I'll present the augmented reality applications that we selected. The first one was called Dinosaur Kit, that allowed the teachers to drag and drop bones in order to create a velociraptor, as you can see in the picture below. The second one was called Figmin XR, that allowed the teachers to create virtual drawings. For instance, the picture that you see in the presentation is a screenshot of a dragon that the teacher created during their activity. The last application was called Museum Alive. In this application, the teachers could select a number of prehistoric animals and they were able to see their animation and movement. As far as our data analysis goes, we used SPSS version 26, and we measured Cronbach's alpha as well as mean and standard deviation. As far as our results goes, the results of the special presence scored relatively high. It seems that the first two questions had the highest score. That means that the participants felt that the augmented reality objects they interacted with were on the same place as they were and they felt they could actually touch them. The lowest score was noted on question 3, that asked if teachers felt they had to get out of the way of a moving object. This could be due to the fact that the teacher saw a virtual object, namely an animal, in the third application. As far as simulator sickness goes, the results are split in 3 clusters, namely nausea, oculomotor, and disorientation. The results generally show high values of standard deviation. However, we found similar results in research literature that could be attributed due to the fact that most users felt no symptoms, while few of them reported intense symptoms, maybe due to their age or lack of experience. Moving on to usability, the results seem high. The majority of the teachers found that the augmented reality classes were easy to use and showed positive attitude towards their use. Lastly, the results on workload seem generally low. This means that even though the teachers felt that the application required a reasonable amount of mental and physical demand, the overall effort was small and the frustration was minimal. To sum up, this is one of the first studies that examined teacher special presence, simulator sickness, usability, and workload of augmented reality classes. The results seem promising, exhibiting high presence, low simulator sickness, high usability, as well as generally low workload. The limitations that were identified have to do with the convenience of the sample that we used in the study, as well as the fact that the conditions were lab-based and not real teaching conditions. Lastly, future studies could examine the use of augmented reality classes in teaching conditions in both teacher and student sample. This concludes our presentation. Thank you for your time.